Okay, so after our last tutorial where we were looking at how to put our logo onto a bottle and then to adapt our bottle, adding colour and different styles to it, I'm going to show you the next step, which is I'd like to put your bottles into an advertising campaign. So to do this, you're going to need to think about how you're going to advertise your fragrance style and your product. You're going to want to think about who your target market was, and you're going to think about whether you want to use imagery, particularly, for instance, landscapes or people to advertise your product. So here's what I've done, and I've thought about the fact that I'm trying to sell my product to a high-end and also to a unisex style, because if I put one of my products in here, we can see that it is, let's just make that larger for you, we can see that my Ellipse is a unisex, it's a fragrance for all, and I've kind of got some kind of elaborate and ornate kind of styles of lettering, so I'm trying to kind of elevate it to sort of a high-end kind of brand target market. So I've picked my background. I've said, look, this is a range that's going to go and be used in a bathroom, so I've set my advertising as a bathroom scene. So in order to do that, I've found a picture on the internet, and I've found a variety of things that I like. So I've found a bathroom scene, and I've found Posh and Becks, because I'm going to use those guys to advertise my product, because they're going to be my kind of my glam high-end couple, and because it's unisex, I've got a male and a female. So I've gone in and screenshotted all those pictures, and then as my base layer I've brought in that image. So that is my background picture that I brought in for my advertising campaign. So I've managed to find a picture of David Beckham sitting down, and I've edited him in on the next layer, and then I've photoshopped him out so that he's now sat on the toilet. There he is, looking nice and dark and moody. So I've gone around using my magic wand tool, and I've highlighted the areas that I wanted to delete out, and I've got rid of them. So for instance, if I wanted to get rid of that tiny middle bit there, I could just tap on that and it highlights, but it's got a bit of his arm as well, so you're going to play around with the tolerance of what you're actually highlighting. The lower the tolerance, the smaller the piece that you will highlight. So if I do kind of that, for instance, and then I tap on my layer and tap cut, it just takes out that tiny little bit. And you'll find that if you're struggling with bits where the colours are a bit blurred next to the colour next to it, that's what you need to do. Or the alternative is you can use your eraser tool, and you can actually erase parts around there as well, and that allows you again to take out some very small kind of elements there where you're kind of rubbing out parts of the shot with your eraser. Okay, so you can do that as well. So after I've got Beck sat down in there, I've decided that I need to also bring in Posh, so I've put her in. She's standing up down there. And now I need to bring my bottles, because I want my bottles to be on show as well as my branding. So my bottles I've cropped in and then shrunk down and placed them along the edge of this work surface, but you can have them just in shot around the picture if you like to. But I wanted to have them actively in the shot, so each time I've gone and brought in a bottle image, I've cropped it and deleted what's outside it and then shrunk it down so that it can sit on the shelf and they can all sort of sit there in a little row. And I've played around with the order of my layers to make sure that they're the one that has the best kind of picture is at the front, or the one I think is the best example is at the front, and I've stacked the others behind it. Now I've decided I want to bring my branding into the image, so my branding is these colour lines, and also my branding is the word, the title Ellipse, and also my strap line, which is fragrance for all. So I've brought that in on different layers each time I've layered that up. So I've got my my Ellipse written here in the middle, and I haven't gone for putting where my logo has the colouring behind the lettering. I've changed that around and I've put the colouring onto the voile, as they're called, kind of the curtain at the back there. So that then is at the back. I've coloured over there on another layer and just cropped it down to the right size. In fact, what I did was I drew a big square, coloured it in, and then I used my eraser tool just to rub it out, the edges I didn't want, and change the opacity on that layer as well. Obviously I can make it really dark or I can make it really light, but I want to be able to see the detail of the curtain so it still looks like the curtain's colours, so I've kept the opacity quite light. There we go. And then also I want to have my strap line as well, and I've decided to write it across the ceiling. And actually, in order to change that to make it look like it's written on the ceiling, then I can use my distort tool, which is this one here, and I can then actually move that across to distort the image to change the angle so it looks a little bit like, you know, at the beginning of Star Wars where the words kind of like flowing up the screen. And there I have it. So I can merge that down all the way into one image as long as I'm happy with it and I don't want to change it anymore, and then I can screenshot that, and that becomes my advertising campaign, which I'm going to then take forward and put into some other different locations, which I will show you next week.